Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we've been seeing, the crypto market is really pushing everything to the extreme. And there are some individuals out there who are saying that this is developed, it was created by the NSA, by the government, to force us into a world currency. Now, this could be true, and they're saying that this is being done for nefarious reasons. Now, again, this could be true, but we need to look at both sides of this. And they're saying that, cryptocurrency, it's backed by nothing, it's created out of thin air, and, there's this cryptocurrency market is deceiving a lot of people. Well, we need to look at both sides, and I don't think there's just one answer to all of this, because when we look at the crypto market right now, there's many different cryptos, first of all. They're decentralized. And for the central bankers to get a hold of all of this, they would need to control all of it. And they would have to have the ability to create more currency than what the system is slated for. Like Bitcoin will only create a certain number of coins and then it stops and that's it. Central bankers don't work that way. Central bankers want to continually create currency out of thin air because they attach interest to it and they spread it around the world. This is how their system works. Now, can the governments, can the central banks take over and create their own coin and make everyone use it? Well, of course. Look what they did with the gold standard. I mean, the United States and the rest of the world was on a gold standard. The central bankers, they came into the picture in 1913. Well, they came in many times before this, but let's just go to the 1913 date where they were established. They kept us on the gold standard, making us believe that, yes, everything will be okay during this period. And after World War II, they continued on with the gold standard. They took control of the system. But in the 70s, that's when they made their move to come off the gold standard, which is checks and balances, where they'd be able to create currency, as much as they possibly could. And as you can see, the debt has grown. Now, the gold standard at that time was a good standard. The problem was there were underlying motives with the central banks where they decided, something, this is not working for us because we can't create currency and put all these nations into debt and buy up their assets. If we look at cryptocurrencies, they could do the same thing if they created their own coin, if they had no limit, and governments could create laws. Because remember, when the central bankers came into power, there were laws that were created and it allowed the central bankers to come into existence. And there's going to be a battle. And there's going to be a battle where the central bankers and the people are going to battle out what is going to be the currency of the world. And will the central bankers have control? Will the people have control? Well, this is the battle. This is going to be the fight of who remains in power. Now, of course, the central banks, they have plans for other things. They might even say, hey, you can keep your cryptocurrency. This will be used for exchange of goods and stuff on a very low level, but countries will be using our system where they'll be using the petro yuan or they'll be using the SDR on a much higher level. And we see already that Japan is legalizing Bitcoin as legal tender, part of the country's effort to develop a comprehensive regulatory framework for incorporating and regulating digital currencies. Now, this is going to be on a low level, and they want people to use it where they'll be able to get paid in Bitcoin. Now, before, a lot of people weren't using Bitcoin because of the volatility. And as Bitcoin has been going up, every single day, they're saying people are more apt to use it now because it's continually rising in price. And we see right now that there are many other vendors that are looking to use cryptocurrencies. Now, of course, the central banks, on the other hand, they're saying, listen, we can control the cryptocurrency. And this might be the play they use, where they say, listen, look at the volatility, and this is what happens in an open free market. We can stop this if we control it, if we back it, if we touch it and make our own coin. We can control it just like we can control the dollar. Now, if you really look at the dollar has lost value over time because they continually create the dollars and they spread it around the world. Same thing with all the other currencies. And this has failed every single time. So this is the fight that we're going to have, and this is going to be the transition that we go through. And we can see right now that you still need gold, you still need cryptocurrency, because this is going to be a brand new system, and we don't know which way we're going to go. And this is why you need to be diversified in all these different things. Even paper cash, you're still going to need. So I don't think it's one thing fits all. And if you take that approach, well, I think it's going to really hurt you in the end. That's my personal opinion. I believe that what you need to do is be ready for everything. Just like you're not going to stock up just on water, thinking that you can get food at any time when there's a catastrophe. No, you stock up on food, you stock up on water, you stock up on medical supplies, you stock up on weapons to protect what you stocked up on, to protect your family. You do all of this because you're diversifying your preparedness. The same thing with currencies. This is what you need to do. We see the Bank of Canada governor right now. He is worried about the economy. And this is coming from Stephen Poloz, which is the Bank of Canada governor, and he cited numerous worries plaguing the economy during his speech to Toronto's financial elites. He says 3 things keep me awake at night: positive recent Canadian employment, GDP, and other data. And he went on to say that personal debt, housing prices, cryptocurrencies are other causes for concern, along with actions that the Bank of Canada is taking to alleviate them. And his message was that, don't worry, we have things under control, but I'm still very nervous. Now, if he has everything under control, why is he worried about these things plaguing the economy? It doesn't make sense. Why is he losing sleep? Because if you really look at this, he's created a housing bubble during his term, and Canada's economy is showing signs of being in the midst of an everything bubble. We have a housing bubble, stock market bubble, and we see right now that they are continually creating currency out of thin air. And for 4 years, his fingerprints are all over these bubbles. And this is what he's worried about. He's worried about this popping. Now, here in the United States, we understand that the economy is deteriorating very, very quickly. And I know that the corporate media and everyone is out there still trying to convince us that everything is doing very, very well. Janet Yellen is already making hints that the economy might not do as well if Trump, his administration, those in power push forth their economic policies. And we've said this for quite a while right now. They were waiting for a period of time where the administration was in power, where they can blame this all maybe on him, or actually blame it the first part on him, then create certain events and then say this is why the economy is coming down. Because we do understand that everything that they've done in the past is going to catch up to them. And the central banking system never lasts forever. And we could see with the debt, the global debt, the deterioration of the retail market, the deterioration of the housing market, all the manipulation of the statistics, that this time is approaching very, very quickly. And the government and those people that are non-elected within the government, the cabal, they've been using this free money to, run their system and to create war, to pay for paid mercenaries, and they've been doing all of this. And the U.S. government may have misspent around $21 trillion because it's missing. And there's a Michigan State University professor who brought in accountants and started to comb through all this stuff, and he might have found where this money might have gone. And when he was looking at this, he's saying that 2 departments of the U.S. federal government may have spent as much as $21 trillion on things they can't account for between 1998 and 2015. And this is coming from Mark Skidmore, a professor of economics at MSU, specializing in public finance. And his team found this out. Now, they came up with the figure after digging the websites of Departments of Defense and Housing and Urban Development, as well as reports of the Office of the Inspector General. After discovering that the figure was accurate, he and Fitz collaborated with a pair of graduate students to comb through thousands of reports of the OIG dating back to 1998. This is when the new rules went into effect for public accountability for the federal government. And from 1998 all the way up to 2015, this is the time period they're looking at. And he said we found 21 trillion in adjustments over that period. The biggest chunk is for the Army, where they were able to find 13 of the 17 years, and we found about 11.5 trillion just for the Army. Now, he's not telling anyone exactly where the trillions had gone yet. And he's not saying that they went to undisclosed projects. He's not saying that, people have stole it. He's not really coming out saying exactly where this money has gone, but we can see right now it had to go someplace. And most likely this was used to maybe fund the cabal, fund other parts of the government. This is the dark money. This is what they use it for. And once all this comes out, we can see our whole economic system is a complete and utter lie, because all of this is taxpayer money. So when we start breaking it down and we start to realize that they faked this data, they stole this money, and this will then lead into the unemployment number, this will then lead into the tax receipts, this will then lead into the GDP numbers, because once they start combing through all this and they start to realize all these things don't make sense, one thing leads into another, and they're going to start to realize that this whole economy, everything that it's based on, is completely fake, phony, and false. And once this truth starts to come out, we're going to see that things are going to break down very, very rapidly. And we can see right now that there are economic worries out there. They're preparing to move us to a brand new currency system, because they know eventually what will happen is that this system will die. And when the system dies, they don't want the truth coming out. And this is why we can expect some type of an event through the transition of the entire system. And this is why we've been saying getting ready, get prepared, because this system is not going to last much further. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially